The Game Boy Advance SP. What a fabulous little handheld. In fact, kids today may look down on it, comparing it to the tricorder from Star Trek, but then again, kids today probably don't know what a tricorder is. What I was meant to say was that there's a lot of things we take for granted in our handheld gaming devices, which originated in this little beast. But that's not saying it didn't have a few problems. So join us as we count down the top 5 reasons the GBA SP rocked, like the Thing, and the Thing, but also sucked, like the Thing, and the Thing. Firstly, why not?
Before the Game Boy Advance SP, there was the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color. Two systems that were full of classic games like Zelda, Link's Awakening, and Super Mario Land. Thankfully, Nintendo realized this and gave the SP backwards compatibility, allowing us to play all our favorites from yesteryear. Yay!
While there is something undeniably charming about the Game Boy's chunky brick design, truth be told, it wasn't the most portable of gaming systems. Although compared to the Sega Game Gear, it looked as thin as Christine Bale in The Machinist.
Thankfully, the Game Boy Advance SP featured a closable lid, which allowed the system to fit more snugly in your pocket. On top of that, the closed lid allowed the screen to be protected from dirt, scratches, and 8-foot-tall spiders.
The 3DS is a lovely system, filled with many lovely games to enjoy in eye-popping 3D. Two-player playing games in 3D results in a 4-hour battery life. The GBA SP, on the other hand, can last for ages. One 2-hour charge can make this little baby run for 12 hours. That's half a day, or the running time of the extended editions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
So, if you ever got trapped in an elevator for more than 5 hours, that would be terrifying. Having a Game Boy Advance SP on hand will definitely be great company, better than the people you're stuck with. Also, a rechargeable battery meant you didn't have to keep running to the shops for more AA's.
Believe it or not, there was a time when in order to play on your Game Boy, you had to have eyes like the mole people to see its dim screen.
That wasn't until Nintendo did the clever thing and put in a backlight, making the game's graphics dazzle like my teeth after brushing them with Colgate.
It's such a crazy, simple piece of innovation that I'm surprised Nintendo didn't do it sooner. True, previous handhelds like the Game Gear and Atari Lynx had a backlight, but not at the expense of battery life. And your soul.
At the end of the day, a gaming system is called a gaming system because it can, play video games.
And the GBA SP had a terrific collection of new and original titles. Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Metroid Fusion, F-Zero Maximum Velocity, Gunstar Future Heroes, and Klonoa Empire of Dreams are just few of the incredible titles that grace the system.
So now that we've covered the good stuff, it's time to look at the bad. Now, before angry fans march at the Tetrahedron's gates, we just want to remind you that we're not saying the system is bad, but rather it had a few things that were sorely missed. So, on to the suckies.
Number 5 on our list is nothing. Yep, we fought long and hard for a 5th reason the GBA SP sucked, but nothing sprang to mind, so we left it empty. Heck, even the 4th reason is a bit of a stretch. You could argue why we didn't just call the video Top 5 Reasons the GBA SP Rocked and Top 4 Reasons It Sucked, but that would have made the title too long and have alienated audiences.
Later on in the SP's life, Nintendo released the GBA SP Tribal Edition, which featured the Game Boy Advance SP with a tattoo design on it. While some gamers loved it, we personally hated it, as it usually involved young gamers touting their systems if they were cooler than a piece of ice.
In fact, I lost my childhood friend to the Tribal, because since I still had the original GBA SP, he thought he was too cool for me and subsequently ended the friendship. Since then, he has tried to apologize to me and add me on Facebook, but I just blocked him.
Since the Game Boy Advance SP was capable of running 16-bit graphics, a lot of developers, including Nintendo themselves, decided it would be best to port classic SNES games onto the system.
While this was initially novel at first, as it allowed us to play A Link to the Past on the go, it unfortunately clogged the system's early years, resulting in us waiting for new content to eventually come along. Don't get me wrong, SNES ports are cool, but not when they prevent new entries in the beloved franchise. Case in point.
In the Game Boy Advance 9-year lifespan, Nintendo did not release a new entry in the Super Mario series, but rather ports of classic games from the SNES and NES. While it was nice, it would have been cool to play an all-new Mario platformer, made from the ground up for the Game Boy Advance. And before anyone says anything, Mario vs. Donkey Kong and Mario Pinball Land do not count.
Our major gripe with the GBA is such a simple issue, but one that was potentially distracting, and that was the lack of a headphone jack. Yep, if you were out in a crowded train and wanted to enjoy the game's audio, well, tough luck, pal. You have to play it loud and annoy everyone, or play it silent. If you wanted to play a game secretly, even if your dad told you to go to bed, well, tough luck, pal. You either have to play it loud or get caught, or play it silent. If you wanted to do audio sharing when you put one earpiece on two separate people, who then put their heads together so the audio would travel through their minds, well, tough luck, pal.
Yep, the headphone jack was such a simple feature that Nintendo sorely missed. But thankfully, with subsequent handhelds, it's been there. Thank you, Nintendo. Much appreciated.